Thanks, Jamie. And I'm Les. Appreciate the great introduction to the winery. Jamie said I'm the national sales manager for our winery. Don't get too hung up on a title. I'm the only salesperson for our small, tiny little family-owned winery for the entire country. We're small. We only have about 15 employees for the entire operation. That includes cellar workers and stuff. So apparently I'm the only one that owns a sports coat that can go out into the wild and talk to people. Everybody else has to stay back and work. But yeah, small little tiny family winery. Give you a little bit of background and information about us. We're owned by a couple named Bill and Jane Easton. They're pretty historic in California, especially Bill, who's the winemaker. He's one of the original Rhone Rangers in California. If you've never heard of that term, basically 4 people out in California back in the late 70s and early 80s decided that they were going to try to plant Syrah and have some success with it in California. And there actually wasn't a lot of Syrah planted in California at the time, so they were kind of trailblazers. And Bill was one of these 4 gentlemen. Of course, they planted all the other Rhone-style grapes that are native to the Rhone Valley, like Grenache and Viognier and Roussanne and Marsanne and Mourvedre. Fun grapes that grow natively in the Rhone Valley, but they also grow really well in California. And these 4 guys were kind of right. They were on to something. We have a very similar climate to central and southern France. It's very Mediterranean, so these grapes do flourish in our area. The 3 other gentlemen besides Bill, they all pretty much went to a different area of California. They went to like Central Coast and Santa Barbara and Santa Cruz Mountains out on the coast. Bill decided they needed to be a little bit more similar to what the Rhone Valley was. They needed to be up at high elevation. So he went to the mountains. So where we're at is the Sierra Foothills. Sierra Foothills is not in coastal California. It's closer to Nevada. It's way up in the mountains. We're incredibly high elevation vineyards in that area. So we work from about 1,200 feet up to 3,200 feet, some of the highest elevation vineyards in the entire state. It's all granite and volcanic soil up there, almost identical to the Rhone Valley. So, you know, the gentlemen that went to the coast in their areas like Santa Barbara, like I said, in Central Coast, they weren't wrong. They planted it there and it's very successful. But Bill was kind of the lone wolf that went into the mountains and did his project. So that's kind of why he's historical. He's also been crowned with a lot of accolades over the years, which he kind of shrugs off. He's a real humble guy. He really, when he gets any kind of press or anybody praises him, he kind of just shrugs it off and goes back to farming. He's just, he's about a 6'5" guy, big, tall drink of water, big shock of white hair, big booming voice, but a kind of a poet at heart. He loves farming and he's really good at it. He's been doing it for 35 years. So we started in 1985. He planted Rhone varieties, like I said, Syrah and so on. But up in our area, there are also a lot of old vine Zinfandel plants, and Bill wanted to make old vine Zin. So he created 2 projects. One he called Terre Rouge, and Terre Rouge is everything we do with Rhone-style grapes that I was talking about before. And then he named the other part of the winery Easton, which is his last name, his family name. And Easton's what we do non-Rhone-style grapes under, like Zinfandel. We also do things like Cabernet Sauvignon and Sauvignon Blanc. We're going to try the Sauvignon Blanc here in just a second. So 2 different labels, but one winemaker, one family, and it's under one roof, 2 different projects. And we make about 30 different wines. So Bill's energetic, to say the least. He likes a lot of projects going on, and he makes those projects really small micro vinifications. So we're talking about 100 to 500 cases in most cases of all the wines. You're going to taste some special things in either some of our probably larger production wines, but take that with a grain of salt. They're not very big. And then finally at the end, we'll taste a really special library wine that we make about 200 cases of per year. That'll be our state bottle Zinfandel. A couple more little accolades real quick about Bill. Bill was voted by the Rhone Rangers. He was given one of the only 4 Lifetime Achievement Awards, and it's only the 4 guys that started with the Rhone that got those awards. Bill's one of those, so he's gotten that. He was named Winemaker of the Year by Wine Enthusiast in 2016. His winery was named top 100 winery in the world last year and in 2016. He's the only person to make 100-point wine in the Sierra Foothills ever. We just got that 100-point wine in April of this year, so that's pretty recent. So I was on a phone call with him, and all these accolades have been coming in. You know, he's been doing this for 35 years, and I could feel him winking on the phone when he said, he's like, I think I'm in the hang of this. You know, so he makes pretty good wine. And when I found this winery years ago, I was in the restaurant business, and they made spectacular wines, really high quality, but the prices weren't very high, and it just blew my mind. And it's kind of the economics of our area. Sierra Foothills is cheaper to farm in. It's world class. You can make world class wines there, but it doesn't cost as much as farming in places, say, like Napa or Sonoma. So that's kind of baked into the cake up there. You get cheaper farming prices, you get world class wines, so you get really high quality wines that can compete with any in the world, but you're paying a pittance of what you'd pay for most California wines. And then when you're talking about library wines that we hold and age for, Bill is always kind of humble about that. He wants people to drink his wines, not kind of covet and hold them. So he ages it kind of for you and releases it at a really reasonable price. So even our reserve level and library level ones are about entry level what Napa and Sonoma is. So they're incredible bargains from the top to the bottom. So I'm going to give you a quick little secret. When you're looking for great wines in the world, we all want to stumble across this. We all want to stumble across a wine that none of our friends know about it. It's like really high quality, but really low price. It's an artisan made product that will just, blow people's minds that are wine people. When you show it to your wine geek friends, like, where did you find this? This is amazing. Or if you just show them to guests that are at your house and don't know a lot about wine, they're going to be impressed by it too. Well, that's this kind of wines. And I'll give you the secret of how to find those. When you go, here's what you do. You go out into the world and you look for thoughtful farming and cellar work, things like organic farming, biodynamic farming. You look for things like perfect climate and soil type matching. You look for old vines. You look for experienced winemakers, and you look for bottling programs, or a thing we call élevage, which is holding back the wines to age them. And if you get a couple of combinations of what I just said, 2 or 3 of those things, you found a good winery. You found an amazing winery, actually, and those are the best wineries in the world, and they usually cost a lot of money. Well, the winery we're talking about today, our winery, Terre Rouge and Easton, every one of those things I just named, we can check those off. Every single one of those. You get élevage, you get bottle age, which we're well known for. You get old vines. We have some of the oldest vines in California, some dating back into the 1860s. We have most experienced winemaker in the area. He's called the godfather of Syrah and Zinfandel in the Sierra Foothills. And then you have thoughtful farming. He's an organic farmer, and thoughtful cellar work, where he's as hands off and makes as natural wines as he possibly can with that. So all this combination that built with our perfect climate and perfect soil type, it's kind of in the crosshairs of fine wine, and you only stumble across a few of these in your life. So this is one of them. So that's kind of my introduction to the winery. I would like to step over to Jamie real quick, and we'll start with I'll go right into the first one. I'll let him introduce it, though. Now, our first one's going to be our Sauvignon Blanc.